Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is your host Thomas Tyree from On the Hot Podcast. Today, as a bonus content for you guys, the bonus content I will be covering will be in the world of boxing and covering a big time fight that will be happening in the boxing world. But this week has been a busy week for myself being the host of On the Hot Podcast. If you guys haven't checked out episode 71, it is now available on our Instagram account and our Apple Podcast account. So go ahead and check out episode 71. And then yesterday I had an interview with up-and-coming boxer Joe Veazey from the DMV from Maryland. He's an up-and-coming pro fighter who is 7-0, has 4 knockouts to his resume. Interviewed him yesterday, great interview. So go ahead and check out our page. We've been busy all week, and as always, I'm here for some bonus content. And the bonus content I will be covering for you guys today, I will be sharing my fight prediction for tomorrow night's fight in the United States. I should say it will be taking place on Sunday in Australia. But I will be sharing my fight prediction for this weekend's fight between Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2. And this week is not just talk about this fight. This will be 1 out of 2 boxing fight predictions I will have for you guys this weekend. But it's a great week to be a boxing fan. It's going to be a great weekend filled of fulfillful fights, monumental fights that will take place in the sport. You're going to have 4 monumental fights that's going to take place. You have starting off with Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. You have Michaela Mayer versus Alicia Baumgartner. You have Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshalls. And then, of course, you have Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2. 3 out of 4 of these fights are going to be undisputed championship fights. Of course, 2 of them are going to be on the same card that's going to be taking place when the females get in the ring and take place in that co-main event and the main event of that card. And then you have the undisputed lightweight championships that will be on the line that I will be covering this bonus content. So hopefully this fight that I will be covering doesn't get... I mean, the hype is there between Devin Haney and George Kambosos. Not like it was for the first time that we already seen what can transpire between these two in the ring. So hopefully this fight, when it takes place Saturday night in the States, it doesn't get overshadowed by Deontay Wilder and Robert Helenius' fight that's going to take place also Saturday night. So let's get into this fight prediction. This is going to be Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2. And 4 months ago, for the first time, it took place June 5th in Melbourne, Australia, where Devin Haney made history and beat George Kambosos in a decisive way, winning that fight by unanimous decision, become the king of the lightweight division, holding all the keys, all the glitz, all the glamours, all the belts in the 135-pound division. In my opinion, the best division in boxing today. He is now the undisputed king of that and the youngest undisputed champion throughout any division in boxing. Devin Haney did that at the age of 23. Kudos to him. This is what took place in the first fight between himself and George Kambosos. It just looked like during this fight, I was just so confused because George Kambosos looked good within the first 2 to 3 rounds, but then as more as he became aggressive in the fight, Devin Haney just started outboxing him. He showed he could box inside on George Kambosos. He showed he could box outside on George Kambosos. And his most lethal weapon was his jab and his lethal combinations that he's displayed in that fight. Just absolutely dominated, outboxed George Kambosos. From once round, in my opinion, from round 3 all the way to round 12, it was just a display, a pure dominance displayed by Devin Haney. And I've said on this podcast that I do believe that Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson do have the best jab that I have seen since Floyd Money Mayweather has been in a boxing ring. So that's how you know how lethal Devin Haney's jab truly is in the world of boxing. But George Kambosos, to me, I don't know. I think realistically, you look at the guy that what he was 4 months ago, shocked the world, became the undisputed champion, shocked the world last year in November 2021, where he became the undisputed champion in the lightweight division, shocking Teofimo Lopez, making him pack his bags and move up to 140 pounds. That was the last time we seen Teofimo Lopez at the 135-pound division. George Kambosos beat him in shocking fashion in New York and won all the championships in the lightweight division. And then 4 months ago, we thought George Kambosos was going to bring that same fire, that same energy that he once did when he did beat Teofimo Lopez as an underdog, and it just didn't happen. And I don't know. I think this is a reach for him right now. I understand when they fought for the first time, there was a rematch clause stated between the two, just in case if George Kambosos did lose, there would be an automatic rematch clause or a rematch down the line at some point where Devin Haney will have to travel back from the States to Melbourne, Australia to defend all the his undisputed titles at 135 pounds. And I really think that George Kambosos, this is a quick turnaround because they were just in the ring with each other in June. How have you sharpened your skills since then? I think George Kambosos should have took I'm not going to say a warm-up fight, but I'm saying he should have took a fight where he got his feet wet once again, built his confidence again. And I say that respectfully, but I just think it's too fast, too quick for George Kambosos to have a 4-month turnaround, and you might be facing a Devin Haney that might bring new tricks. So that's how I feel about that, and hopefully we get a good fight. But the storylines I have for this fight, for both fighters heading into this fight, has the loss from Devin Haney in dominating fashion. Has George Kambosos is George Kambosos feeling? How is his confidence? Has the reality sunk in that how is he? Reality has to have sunk in that he is no longer the undisputed champion at the 135-pound division. Will we see a new George Kambosos? Will we see the George Kambosos that we seen in the old, like I just said a few moments ago, where he walked into New York, Teofimo Lopez's empire, New York, and took all the championships from Teofimo Lopez in that fight? He walked away he walked in as the underdog, walked out undisputed champion. Will we see that old George Kambosos? Oh, and I think we might. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win. We're going to see my prediction in a few moments. But we're seeing a more focused George Kambosos, the old George Kambosos, instead of when he was the host, when he was the undisputed champion. The first time these guys fought, obviously Devin Haney came in as a young challenger, 23 years old. But there was a lot of legal situations where Bill Haney, his father, couldn't come. We weren't 100% sure if he was going to be able to make the fight. Luckily, he made the fight and was in his son's corner to watch him make history. But the trash talking that took place before the first fight, George Kambosos was promoting the fight like he was a trash talker, like a Conor McGregor, like he was a trash talker, like a Jake Paul, just straight running his mouth, talking trash, calling Devin Haney a rat, exposing Devin Haney for sharing DMs with Teofimo Lopez, or sharing his DMs that he sent to George Kambosos how to defeat Teofimo Lopez, because we all know the history that Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez were unable to hook up with each other in the ring in the first place for the undisputed titles. And he was out there giving information to George Kambosos. This was a lot of trash talk. And George Kambosos missed weight. He missed weight and had to cut weight 2 hours after the weigh-in took place, and said it was all about mind games, the art of war, as he would say. And it caught up to him. But I'm glad we're going to get a more focused George Kambosos. He really hasn't been trash talking as much in the face-to-face confrontations that he's faced with Devin Haney. So hopefully we get the old George Kambosos of the old, and we'll see how he is when he fights this Saturday. And the storyline I have for Devin Haney, after you are the youngest undisputed, you are crowned as the youngest undisputed champion in all of boxing at 23 years of age. Is Devin Haney overlooking George Kambosos? Is he too worried about what the big names are, the other big names are doing in the lightweight division? Now, let me say this. Devin Haney is obviously focused on George Kambosos, but he's worried about the outside. I believe he's worried about the outsiders. That's what they're doing at the other noise that could be taking place in the 135-pound division. When you're talking about the names of Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, who could be nearing a deal to make a big monumental fight happen in the division. He's still calling out Gervonta Davis. He's still calling out Ryan Garcia. He's still calling out anybody in the lightweight division. So is he overlooking George Kambosos? Is he looking past the assignment that he has for this weekend for the outside world? Are too worried about the outsiders in the lightweight division? Time will tell. But how I see this fight playing out for this Saturday, I do believe that Devin Haney is going to win this fight via knockout in the 9th round. I believe it's just going to be the same story that we saw the first time between these two guys fighting. I think Devin Haney will dominate George Kambosos. He has the reach advantage over him, and his jab, he will use the jab like he did in this first fight. And he's already explained it in the face-to-face confrontations. He's going to go back and do the same thing that he did in the first fight, handicap George Kambosos of his best attributes, and just go on and dominate him. I believe this fight is happening too soon, like I just said in the beginning, where I thought George Kambosos should have had a warm-up fight before going back and fighting Devin Haney for all the marbles in the lightweight division. And I just feel like Devin Haney, we're going to see him come in sharper. He's one of those fighters where he's not going to sit off. The layoff's not going to be long for him. I think we're going to see more sharper techniques. I think we're going to see a lot of new things come out of his playbook for this fight. And he's not known for knockout power. He's known for being a boxing machine in there, a true artist of his craft. But I think he's just going to absolutely dominate him. It could be a referee stoppage in my opinion as well. But I'm going with the knockout in the 9th round for Devin Haney. What happens and the two questions I have is, what happens if Devin Haney does walk out of Melbourne, Australia, walking back to the States with all the championships in the lightweight division? What happens? Where does the division go if Devin Haney retains the titles? Well, I think the first fight that we're going to see right off the bat, if Devin Haney retains the belts, is early 2023 or come April or May. We're going to see Devin Haney back in the ring, and I think he's going to get in there with Lomachenko, who's been dying to fight Devin Haney for quite some time. He's been looking to become an undisputed champion in the lightweight division. So I think on tap, we're going to see Devin Haney versus Lomachenko early 2023 for all the undisputed titles if he does retain all the championships this weekend in Melbourne, Australia. And then after that, I think we're going to see a fight. If Devin Haney is successful against Lomachenko, I think we're going to see the dream fight take place between himself and Shakur Stevenson take place by the end of 2023. I think that's a fight that could be as big as a Terrence Crawford or Anna Earl Spence. I think that fight takes place between the two by the end of 2023. Maybe around this same time of next year, I'm talking about a fight prediction between Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson. Time will tell. I think that's what happens if Devin Haney retains. But what happens if George Kambosos pulls off the upset of a lifetime and wins back all the championships in the lightweight division, become an undisputed champion once again? Well, I'm just going to tell you straight up, everybody's going to be chomping at the bit for George Kambosos. Those two names I just named, I think those are the only names that will step up to be willing to fight Devin Haney and actually call him out, and will realistically happen in 2023. As much as I would like to see Gervonta Davis go after the championships, it's a question mark of what his status is right now. Is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions? Is he allowed to pick his own fighters instead of Floyd cherry picking his own fighters? It's just tough. So I can't throw Gervonta Davis in there until I have some more clarity in the situation with his contract with Floyd with Money Promotions. But George Kambosos and Devin Haney I will say right now, I think he is the boogeyman of this division, and nobody wants any parts of him. But if George Kambosos wins the championships, he's not giving Devin Haney a rematch for a long time. He's going to be ducking him. And I can see everybody in the division wanting a piece of George Kambosos, talking about Gervonta Davis, possibly about Ryan Garcia. Shakur Stevenson is definitely going to be right there, chomping at the bit after moving from 130 to 135. He's going to be there. Lomachenko is going to be there. Everybody's going to be right there. We might even see Teofimo Lopez move back down from 140 to 135 to get a rematch against George Kambosos. I think there's a lot of possibilities of what can happen, but realistically, the George Kambosos, I just don't see him walking out of his home country, Melbourne, Australia, as the undisputed champion by the end of the night. Devin Haney will retain, and we'll see how this stacked division, where this division moves forward. That is my prediction. Devin Haney wins this fight to retain all of his championships in the lightweight division via knockout in the 9th round. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Tyree, signing off, and I'll see you guys on next week's episode.